Hello everyone, this is Vortex. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Final Fantasy I. And I'd like to start off today by apologizing for the long stretch of time that has passed since the last episode. I actually took some time off to take care of lots of chores that have been piling up on my to-do list around the house. Plus, I've also been out of town visiting family and friends recently, but I am going to make an effort to be much more diligent in uploading new videos for you starting today. Now, in our last episode of Let's Play Final Fantasy I, we visited Mount Duergar, the home of the dwarves, and we met an adventurous dwarf named Narek, who gladly took the nitro powder we found in Cornelia Castle. He's been looking for something like that to build a canal, and he detonated the nitro powder on a strip of land nearby, causing it to crumble into the sea and form a canal leading west of the Aldean Sea. So we got in our ship and sailed west through the canal and briefly checked out the entrance of a new bonus dungeon available in the Dawn of Souls version of Final Fantasy I called the Life Spring Grotto. But we could not go inside. Unfortunately, the entrance was blocked, so we sailed a little further west and visited the town of Melmond, plagued not only by rotting earth, but also the recent attack of an evil vampire who even destroyed their church. So it's going to be up to the Light Warriors to restore the power of the Earth Crystal to heal the land surrounding Melmond, and also go after that notorious vampire who is rumored to reside in the Earth Cavern, and that just happens to be our next destination. So what I'm going to do here is press B, select to bring up the map, and we're currently located right next to Melmond. We heard from a villager inside Melmond that the Earth Cavern is on a peninsula called the Devil's Tail, and this triangular shaped peninsula looks just like it's in the shape of a devil's tail, and the Earth Cavern is located right about there. So from Melmond, what we're going to do is head to the west and then south through some swampy, rotting land. Then we'll cross into the peninsula, and the Earth Cavern will be located right about there. Now, before I started this video, I actually sailed back to the village of Elfheim. You probably noticed that there are lots of shops in Melmond, but there's no item shop available, so I went back to Elfheim and visited the item shop, and I sold off a whole bunch of junk I had lying around in my inventory. Got some gil back for it, and I used that gil to purchase some more potions. I now have a total of 25 potions in my inventory, and still have 3 Phoenix Downs. That will probably be okay. If you'd be more comfortable carrying more Phoenix Downs, feel free to grind for the gil to purchase more of those. Now, probably a really good idea to stock up on gold needles before going inside the Earth Cavern. There is going to be a monster inside there that can petrify your party members, and the gold needle will be an item that can cure that stone status ailment. So I've got 10 of those in my inventory. 10 antidotes, and went ahead and stocked up on tents. I now have 5 of those in my inventory as well, should I want to head outside of the Earth Cavern and use one of those to recover my HP and MP. So I think I've got plenty of items. I think I'm ready to head to that Earth Cavern and go after that vampire. So let's head that way. Now, there actually is a couple of new enemies I'd like to find here on the overworld surrounding Melmond to add to the bestiary, and I'll be demonstrating those new battles for you as I run into them. Alright, let's head west and then south through the swampy, rotting land. This is what we want to remedy by relighting the Earth Crystal. Alright, let's turn south from here and cross this peninsula. Well, if you're running low on gil, you'll run into plenty of ogres around these parts. That was a battle with 1 ogre chief and 2 ogres. The ogre chiefs are much more common in this region. Alright, let's continue heading to the south. Then we'll turn to the east. We're nearly to the Earth Cavern already. And that was just a battle with some warg wolves. Well, here's the Earth Cavern entrance. Now, before we venture inside, there are a couple of new enemies I'd like to find, as I mentioned. You may have run into them already, but unfortunately I didn't, so I'm going to wander around the lands here and look for those 2 new enemies. to add to the bestiary, and once I find them, I'll show you the battles. Well, I happened to find one of them right off, and you'll probably find that you'll be getting a lot of preemptive strikes against these. These are the shadow monsters, and we've already fought their cousin the Rays back in the Western Keep, but the shadows are pretty weak. They only have 50 HP, and they are weak to Dia and fire, being undead. They look like little Grim Reapers floating around, so let's go ahead and take these out. You might have already actually run into these in the Marsh Cave. I just never did run into them there, so might as well demonstrate them here. Oh yes, they can blind you, so be wary of that. Looks like Cloud got afflicted with darkness, but he still found a critical hit on that one shadow. Didn't even have to use magic, they were so weak. Looks like I'm going to earn 67 experience points, 135 gil, and I'm going to wander around and look for one more monster. I think it's located in the swampy lands around Melman, probably even around the Earth Cavern here, but once I find it, I'll also demonstrate that battle for you. Be right back. Okay, here's the other new monster I was looking for. Actually, it took me a little bit of time to find this one, between 5 and 10 minutes, so it appears to be a little more rare, but the Hyenodons will often appear along with ogres, as this one has, but I only get to fight one of them along with 3 ogres. But really though, the Hyenodon is a pretty basic, run-of-the-mill, vanilla enemy, so to speak. It only has 120 HP, no weakness, so weapons will work easily against it. It might be fun to have Vivi try out his new Confuse spell here, see if we can confuse those ogres back there too. Let's see if that works. Confusion sets in and they turn around. So there you have it. The Confuse spell will make foes turn on each other, which is kind of cool. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of new enemies available now in our bestiary. And we'll start off by taking a look at number 26, the Shadow, with its 50 HP and lack of treasure drops. And just like other undead, weak to fire and Dia, and resistant to just about everything, including the kitchen sink. And scrolling on down to number 37, we will find the entry for the Hyenodon. And look at its treasure drop. It drops a pretty rare item called the Power Plus item, and if you are fortunate enough to get a Power Plus item, that will permanently increase one character's strength statistic by 1 when used. And we'll actually be finding a lot of items like that when we explore the bonus dungeons a little bit later on in the game. The Hyenodon has no weakness or resistance. Alright, well, it is time for us to make our way inside the Cavern of Earth, and as you can see, I'm going to be going inside at level 18. I believe I'm nearly at level 19. That should be plenty high enough in level to survive, so let's go on in, make our way to the first basement floor of the Cavern of Earth. And there are going to be lots of winding mazes with dead ends, lots of nasty monsters, but there are going to be some new monsters we'll be adding to our bestiary in here. And we will also be finding lots of treasure as well, and if we're lucky, maybe we'll run into that evil vampire and introduce him to our weapons and magic spells a little bit later on. So before we head to the north or to the south to pick up our first treasure chest, I want to show you something off to the west here. So let's go to the west. And starting right about here, we are going to be forced into battle with Hilgigus. Now, this area in the NES version of Final Fantasy I was called the Hall of Giants. And for every step you take in this little corridor, winding around just to the west of the staircase, will force you into a battle with Hilgigus. Now, this is a great way to earn gil, because the Hilgigus drop lots of gil. And I'll be coming back here a little bit later on to earn all the gil I need to purchase all of those level 5 magic spells, not to mention that knight's armor for my warrior cloud. So yeah, this will definitely be the place to come if you're looking to earn gil. Looks like the hill gigas have lots of HP, about 240 to be exact. They have pretty high attack power, so watch out for that. No weakness, and they are often accompanied by a lizard. So let's just try the fear spell, see if that works on them there too. At least well enough to do lots of damage. Yeah, well, at least takes out the lizard, and not quite enough to take out that remaining hill gigas there. So let's go ahead and finish it off, and there you go. 477 experience, but check it out, friends. I earn over 1,800 gil in this battle. So you don't want to go too far if you don't want to have a battle every single step, because if I move off to the west, yeah, it's going to be yet another battle with another hill gigas. So just keep in mind that every step around the Hall of Giants here, or the Hall of Gigas, I guess you can call it here in the Dawn of Souls version of Final Fantasy I, will lead you into a battle with one of these. The bestiary entry for the hill gigas can be found at number 40 in your list, and it will occasionally drop a tent. Yeah, look at that high attack rating there. So their punches can pack a wallop and can quickly whittle down your HP, and they definitely did that to me. No weakness, no resistance. So there you have it. And not only do they drop lots of gil, but they can drop lots of experience as well. And all 4 of my characters are now level 19 after fighting only a few hill gigas plus a few lizards there. So just wanted to show you that hall there to let you know it was available there to grind for gil and experience. Alright, well from here I'm going to start using the B button dash to kind of speed things up a little bit. So let's go pick up our first treasure chest. And, well, I had 2 characters get poisoned by some cobras in that battle, so antidotes will be very important in this cave if you don't have a mage with the Poisona spell. Fortunately, I just had Lena cast the Poisona spell. Alright, let's zoom to the north of our starting staircase here. Should be finding a treasure chamber up here. And here it is, just down below. So let's head on in to find a lone treasure chest. Well, I got to fight 3 ogre chiefs and 1 ogre in that battle, earned nearly 1,100 gil. Alright, well, if you pick up this lone treasure chest from the east, hey, no fair, those 4 ogre chiefs stole my thunder there. Let me try that again. If you pick up this lone treasure chest from the east, actually 1 space to the east of that treasure chest, you will be forced into a battle with a new enemy. This is going to be the first of the elementals that you'll be fighting here in Final Fantasy I. This is the first elemental you'll fight, the Earth Elemental. And if you thought the hill gigas were tough, well, the Earth Elementals are even tougher. They have an attack rating that's a whopping 66, which is a lot higher than the hill gigas' 38, so they can do lots of damage. They have pretty high defense as well. Their defense rating is 20, which is higher than any other monster I'm seeing on this list here, except for maybe 1. And they have even more HP than the hill gigas. They have 288 HP. Now, they are weak against fire, so the Fear spell will be a good choice. I'm going to go ahead and cure up Lock there, I guess. And let's have Vivi use the Fear spell on it. Yeah, weapons don't work quite as well on the Earth Elemental as they do other monsters, but Vivi takes it out with his Fear spell. We get 384 experience and 768 gil for winning this battle. And we get yet another new entry in the bestiary. Number 41 is the Earth Elemental, and it will occasionally drop a remedy. Wow, look at all of its resistance. So fire is the way to go. Alright, well let's crack our knuckles and open up our first treasure chest here in the Cavern of Earth, and we will pocket 1,975 gil. Not bad. Alright, let's backtrack. Okay, here is another new enemy you can fight here in the Cavern of Earth, the Minotaur. Minotaurs have about 164 HP. I think I'm going to be able to knock them down with weapons, so we'll just take them out here real quick. Wow, Locke's becoming quite a powerhouse, isn't he? 244 experience with 976 gil, and the entry for the Minotaur is number 39. And it will drop a worthless knife occasionally. I don't think you can even get very much gil for that. Alright, let's head back around. Well, if you didn't want to fight the anacondas in the Marsh Cave, you'll have the opportunity to fight them here in the Cavern of Earth. More menacing minotaurs in that battle. Okay, there's our starting staircase. So let's see, let's head off to the east here just a little bit and then drop to the south to go pick up some more treasure. Should be 2 more treasure chambers waiting for us down below. I guess the downside to using the B button dash is the monster encounters seem to be more frequent. So I guess it's kind of a trade-off. You know, I just checked the thermometer on the TV and it is 103 degrees outside here. Good day to be sitting in the air conditioning playing Final Fantasy 1. I can hear my next door neighbor mowing his lawn in the heat of the day. I think I would be waiting till evening to do that. Okay, well here is 2 more treasures. Or I guess here are 2 more treasures would be the proper grammar, I guess. Oh well, good thing I wasn't an English major in college. This treasure chest, by the way, was guarded by an Earth Elemental, and all 4 of the Light Warriors leveled up to level 20 after that battle. And inside this treasure chest we will find a potion. Treasure chest number 2 contains 880 gil. Alright, let's backtrack. Boy, I've literally stepped into a snake pit. I think these last several battles have been all with anacondas, except for that one Earth Elemental earlier. Alright, 1 more treasure chamber we want to go find, and it's just down below here. Yeesh, now I know how Dr. Jones felt in Raiders of the Lost Ark when he was confronting all of those vipers. Yep, you guessed it, more anacondas in that battle. They're plentiful down here. Alright, we get to find 2 more treasures. First treasure chest contains 795 gil, and treasure chest number 2 is guarded by yet another Earth Elemental from this side. And we will find an antidote in this treasure chest. Alright, well I think that is all the treasure available on the first basement floor here, so let's go find that staircase leading down to the 2nd basement level. Just backtrack here. And you know, while we're at it, the staircase leading outside is right here, so I'm going to take just a moment to step outside and use a tent and recover my HP and MP. And once I take care of that, we will continue onward from here. Okay, I am back. I stepped outside and used a tent, recovered my HP and most of my mage's MP. Looks like Vivi's still lacking a little bit down there, but all in all, I think he's in pretty good shape. Alright, well let's continue onward here, make our way further down into the bowels of the Cavern of the Earth. The staircase leading down to the next level can be found off to the southeast through this winding corridor. Alright, here is the staircase. Stepping down this set of stairs will take us to the 2nd basement level of the Cavern of Earth, and you will find lots of bats flying around and lots of winding corridors. So it could get easy to get lost here. But there are 2 treasure chambers you can find on this floor, and I guess we'll go for the one down in the southern part of this level first. So let's just navigate around like so here. And we will just keep zooming down to the south. And from here, let's go ahead and turn to the east. Yep, pretty easy to get lost on this floor. I think from here we'll want to turn south. And if my calculations are correct, at least according to my map, should be able to find that treasure chamber down here. And here it is. So let's step on in to find not only an earth elemental near the entrance, but also 3 treasure chests. So let's open them here. The first treasure chest contains 575 gil. Treasure chest number 2 contains a pretty worthless leather shield. And treasure chest number 3 contains a better treasure. We'll take 5,000 gil and pocket it. We're getting richer by the minute here in the Earth Cavern, aren't we? Alright, well, we're going to have no choice but to fight this Earth Elemental again. But doing so leads all 4 of my characters up to level 21 after that battle. Very nice. So definitely making some progress level-wise through here. Alright, let's head to the northeastern corner of this floor to find some more treasure. So let's do some more backtracking here. Up and around. Let's see, yep, let's head north and then east, and then north again, I believe. Whoops, there we go. There's the next chamber. So let's step on inside and find 3 more treasures. Also being blocked by bats here. Oops, I had nearly forgotten that Locke was poisoned after that battle with some cobras, so I had to use an antidote on him there. Alright, let's open up some more treasure. Hey, there is a coral sword inside that treasure chest. Let's see what happens if we equip that on our Warrior Cloud. It's a sword effective against aquatic foes, and it gives you a +1 to your attack power, so why not? Let's go ahead and put that on him. Nice new weapon to find. There is a tent in the second treasure chest, and chest number 3 contains 330 gil. More gil to pocket. Alright, well, let's go down to the staircase leading down to basement floor number 3. And I think from here we just want to go due south. There we go. Alright, there's the staircase. So let's go on down to basement floor number 3. And starting with this floor, you have to watch out for a monster called a cockatrice. That's a bird that can turn your characters to stone, so you may be using some gold needles on this floor. And if you're very lucky, starting with this floor, you may run into a very rare monster called the ochre jelly. The ochre jelly is kind of an orange version of the green slime. It's very rare, so I don't know if I'll find it during this run-through or not, but congratulations to you if you do end up running into it. But for now, let's just go ahead and pick up some more treasure here, starting with this chamber. And inside this treasure chest we will find a sleeping bag. And let's see, I want to wind my way back around to the east and south here, I believe, to find the next treasure chamber. I'm going the right way. And that was a battle with some wraiths, stronger version of the shadow monsters we fought at the beginning of this episode. We fought the wraiths in the Western Keep, I believe, in the last episode. Okay, here's another single treasure chest which contains a very valuable gold needle, which could come in very handy. I did the monster mash on some mummies in that battle. You can fight those here on the 3rd basement floor as well. Demonstrated those back in the Western Keep along with the wraiths. Alright, Bat, you're in my way. Lots of warg-wolves and werewolves in that battle. Alright, let's head to the west now. And let's make a quick side trip into this chamber to pick up yet more treasure. Yet you will find the southern side of this treasure chest is blocked off by an earth elemental, but it's worth fighting for because this chest contains 3,400 gil. Yep. Lots of gil here. In fact, I've already got over 42,000 gil in my possession now. Wow, so I've already got enough to buy the knight's armor. Alright, I believe that this next chamber is empty. Yep, just bats in the belfry up in there. But we should have another treasure chest waiting for us just up ahead here. In this chamber, I believe. Yep. Are you having fun fighting those earth elementals yet? I am. Well, there's 1,020 gil in that chest. So let's continue to the south here. If I can get around these bats, that is. There we go. Alright, let's go up into this chamber, and it looks like we have another bat, but it's a bit bigger and not moving. So it's blocking our way. Let's talk to this bat here. Oh no, it's the vampire. This is the vampire that wrecked the village of Melman. You fiend! The vampire says, all things in this world are destined to end in death. The seal cannot be broken, and so the earth shall rot. And he's going to change from a bat into his vampire form. You cannot alter destiny. Mere mortals cannot kill the undying. And with that, he's going to attack us, and we're going to get to fight our next boss battle with the vampire here. The vampire has 280 HP, very high attack rating. It's got an attack rating of 76, which is even higher than the earth elemental. And it's got a pretty high defense rating as well, but the vampire is classified as being undead, so it is weak to fire and dia. So I think we can defeat it in one round with both the Diara spell and the Fira spell. Let's just try it here and see. Ouch. Yeah, you can see how much damage he did to Locke there. Over 100 points worth. But he's still a pushover. Nothing to it. Thanks to Fira and the mighty Locke there, and we get 300 experience points and 2,000 gil for beating up the vampire there. So we have avenged the town of Melmond. We killed the vampire that destroyed their town and their church. And we've also got a treasure chest waiting in the wings for us back here. And inside this treasure chest, we will obtain a pretty valuable looking ruby. That's the star ruby. Wow. Didn't we hear about a giant that liked to eat those valuable gems? Well, we'll see if we can figure out what to do with the star ruby in our next episode of Let's Play Final Fantasy I. I hope you found today's video helpful and enjoyable. This has been Vortex, your host. Hope you have a great day, everyone. We'll see you again next time.